In microservice architecture, we are going to discuss about evolutionary architect. We should know about what is meant by evolutionary architecture. So it is for building the software and supposed to be completed on time and based on the business changes. This is also this architecture style also ready to accept changes. So that evolutionary architect must bring such kind of changes and to introduce changes inside the project. And based on the customer demands and based on the new technologies, always he must introduce new changes inside the project. So we have already studied about in software engineering evolutionary process model. So there is a difference between evolutionary process model and prescriptive process model. Prescriptive process model, there is a sequential flow, and if you want to do modification from the beginning, you have to start. If it is an evolutionary project based model, and it brings always and increases changes inside the project. So what is the role of an evolutionary architect, or who is an evolutionary architect also we are going to discuss. So in evolutionary architect, under this topic, who is evolutionary architect? He is also going to be called as a person who is involving as an architect and who is going to help and to deliver this system based on the customer need. So he is a person who is going to accept the customer requirements and change requirements and introduce inside the project and deliver the project on time. And but what is the role of this architect is? Most of the companies, the TL technical lead, who is playing the role of evolutionary architect. When you get appointment in any organization, there is a designation called evolutionary architect or otherwise software architect, but little advanced, because evolutionary architect, he is supposed to coordinate and work with multiple teams, maybe if the project is distributed across the world or among entire organization. So the role is a heavy role and it is tricky. Sometimes he is to face some criticism from other people because he is the one bringing changes and bringing our technological changes and bringing the changes of that needs by the customer. So what are the role of this software architect or this evolutionary architect? He'll be acting as a decision maker in the particular project. He'll be called as an advisor and he will play the managerial role as well as, and he involves in business strategist. So he play the role of these. And but what are the things he will get involved and influenced? So the requirements will come through this evolutionary architects, stakeholders, desires also he will accept and he'll transfer those information inside the project, and depends upon the marketing scenario or any changes are supposed to be introduced inside the project, he will bring those contents. Also technological transfer and those end of information also he'll bring and introduce inside the project. But he will keep organizational goals and work towards based on the organizational goals and develop along or work along with multiple teams. And but his role is tricky, and architects have a direct impact on the quality of the system built. So he will identify which are the process are supposed to go for changes. So such kind of change proposal he'll prepare, and that will be introduced in the software. So software will go through such kind of changes, and then based on that the new system is going to be introduced. So this is how the evolutionary architect involves in a particular project and work towards the organizational goals. And what are the other things this evolutionary architect, or what is his vision? So the architect need to shift his thinking away from creating the perfect end of a product. Instead, he is supposed to focus on helping and creating the framework in which the right system can emerge and continue to grow. So he will identify, okay, his vision is towards not the end product perfection, but at the same time he will try and apply his knowledge on or bringing changes in business architecture, information system architecture, or it may be technological changes, or he may brings opportunities and solutions inside the organization for increase the benefit of the organization. And sometimes based on this requirement that people have to migrate the plan or introduce some changes in the plan. Also in the legal formalities as per the governance, okay, so policies that is supposed to be incorporated inside the project. So all these roles, this evolutionary architect work towards it. At last, he is supposed to reduces the complexity of the project as well. So all these are the vision of the architect. And the next topic is about zoning. So whatever changes he is bringing inside the organization, there is a limit. We should not cross the limit above and but below also. So in between, he is supposed to maintain and set the boundaries. So that is called as a service boundary. And this space is a public space. This is semi-public and this is private. So likewise, you can define it through programming as well, public, private, protected keywords, through which you can say that, okay, so these are things are visible, these are things are modifications are possible, but always he's supposed to, any queries comes through, okay, input is coming through, whether it is a positive or negative case, that is supposed to be handled. So that is called zoning. So what happened inside the zone and what happened between the zone, that is supposed to be properly monitored. So since it is monitored, it will improve the health of the system and when it is developed. So with the help of each service, the team can get okay, and then through which they can implement those things. If the team picks a completely different data store lacking enough experience to run away, okay, so the scaling is also important. So Netflix, there is a standardized data store technology through Cassandra. And so this is how you have to strongly find out, okay, with the help of this tool alone this is supposed to be done. And we are using for database or data store part, this technology we are applying. So likewise, certain things we are, it's fixed, and certain things we may give options, like you can use SQL. And so likewise, some kind of frameworks also you can give us, okay, you must use in this project this and this kind of a tool or a project, sorry, tool or devices you have to strictly mention during the development time. So the strongest overriding factor, that is called zoning. And for example, while you consider the car design, we may divide this design into a different direction: front left, front right, middle left, middle right, and rear left, rear right. And everything is going to be managed by the supercomputer. We can say the sensor actuators will be there in every directions. But we are saying that, okay, this alone to be fixed on this direction, it should be on the left side, right side, okay, zoning part. And so it's a strong decision that, okay, so and then we can make a manageable section through which what is the main purpose, and we can do such kind of development or implementation to achieve those goals. So zoning is very, very important. Divide and apply knowledge with the help of the restricted tools or restricted technology, restricted services should be applied. For example, this is a high-level architecture of a Netflix in handling the request and the response. If the client request comes, okay, only this kind of a microservice may address those kind of people with this plan alone. So there is this clear-cut definitions, and each request will be handled and updated. The event will be updated in the event store database. Also, geographically, through this management part, the zoning part, even people can get benefited based on different zones from from that data store. The data will be transferred to those kind of geographically closer to the user, so which may increases the streaming quality. So Netflix is also applying the zoning part. So where from which, okay, so it's for reducing the latency, time delay, and improve the quality. So from okay, it is classifying, okay, for example, if people are watching from US, and okay, so their data may be forwarded, and the request will be handled by the server which may be available near to those particular locations. So the help they may get, and help and services very faster and in a better way. The next topic is called coding architect. So, what does mean by coding architect? Here also, the person or the architect who is good in coding, and if somebody is struggling in the coding part of in a company, in a project, he will go and he will help and improve. So, this is the person who blends coding skill with software architecture, and to meet the functional requirements, this coding practices are important. So but standard coding styles also he will follow, and he will work closely with other project team members, because he is the person, we used to say, okay, person couldn't coding is coder, and he can solve and code anything. So any problem or any help which is needed, he is supposed to involve. So every company, the person is called coding architect, who may be help in identifying the problem and cleaning up this problem and learning and bringing down some of the solutions. So this person will be called as a coding architect. So the next topic is principle. So the software architect must follow the principles and the guidelines that is defined by the organization. Project to project depends upon the agreements. The principles may change, but most of the common principles are given here. Like we have to minimize the error. That means if you are an evolutionary architect, you should work towards minimizing errors and improve the quality. Always you should accommodate changes, and sometimes you should go down and gently deals with problems, exhibit uniformity as well as integration throughout the project, and reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you have to modify and to bring something better over there. Okay, you have to incorporate so such kind of things in the project. And traceable to the analysis part, and not suffer from tunnel visions. Like you should have a broad vision in looking at things, and because your product should reach the market and to reach the customers and to bring back to the organization with a lot of profit. So coding is important, principles also important, so you have to apply align with those principles, and you have while you work towards it, it decreases the time and you can take your product to the market on time. So this is how organization grows well when they follow the principles. The more principles you have, the greater chance that they overlap or contradict each other. So you must have correct principles. You should not have less principles or more principles in between that, but you should apply and follow the principles gently. How you will take those kind of principles? So this kind of a strategic goal will help you to enable and scale the business, so that more customers and transactions are also possible, and most of the things will be done through the software itself, through self-service to the customers. Also, it supports entry into a new markets, and because of the flexibility